Scottish Folk and Fairy Tales. Rashin-Coatie. Once a long time ago, there was a gentleman who had two lassies. The eldest was ugly and ill-natured, but the youngest was a bonny lassie and good. But the ugly one was the favourite of the father and the mother. So they ill-used the youngest in every way, and they sent her into the woods to herd cattle. And all the food she got was porridge and a little bit of whey. Uh, well amongst the cattle was a red calf, and one day it came to the lassie and said, "Give that porridge and whey to the doggie and come with me." So the lassie followed the calf through the woods, and they came to a bonny house, and where there was a nice dinner ready for them. And after they had feasted on everything nice, they went back to herding. And every day the calf took the lassie away and feasted her on dainties, and every day she grew bonnier. And this disappointed the father and the mother and the ugly sister. They expected the rough usage she was getting would take away her beauty, and they watched and watched until they saw the calf take the lassie away to the feast. So they resolved to kill the calf, and not only that, but the lassie was to be compelled to kill him with an axe. Her ugly sister was to hold held down on his head, and the lassie who loved him had to give him the blow to kill him. She could do nothing but greet, but the calf told her not to greet and to do as he bade her. And his plan was that instead of coming down on his head, she was to come down on the lassie's head who was holding him. And then she was to jump back, and they would then run off. Well, the day came for the calf to be killed, and everything was ready, and the ugly lassie was holding his head, and the bonny lassie armed with the axe. And so she raised the axe and came down on the ugly sister's head, and in the confusion that took place, she got the calf back, and they ran away. And when they ran, and they ran till they came to a meadow where there was a great lot of rushes. And the lassie had not had many clothes, and so she pulled away the rushes and made a little coat for herself. Then they set off again and travelled until they came to the king's house. They went in and asked if they wanted a servant. The mistress said she wanted a kitchen lassie, and she would take Rashin-Coatie. So Rashin-Coatie would said that she would stay, but she had to be able to keep the calf too. They were willing to do that. So the lassie and the calf stopped at the king's house, and everybody was well pleased with her. And then when the Yule came, she said she would stop and make dinner while all the rest went to the kirk. And so they were away, and the calf asked if she would like to go, and she said she would, but she had no clothes, and she could not leave the dinner. And so the calf said he would give her clothes and make dinner too. And he went out and came back with a grand dress, all silk and satin, and a nice pair of slippers. And the lassie put on the dress, and before she left, she said, Ilk peat gar either burn, and ilka spit gar either turn, and ilka pot gar either play, till I come frae the kirk on this good Yule day. And so she went to the kirk, and nobody kent it was Rashin-Coatie. And they wondered who the bonny lassie was. And as when the young prince saw her, he fell in love with her and resolved that he would find out who she was before she got home. But Rashin-Coatie left before the rest, and so she might get home to take off her dress and look after the dinner. When the prince saw her leaving, he made for the door to stop her, but she jumped past him and in her hurry lost one of her shoes. The prince kept the shoe, and Rashin-Coatie got home all right, and the folk said the dinner was very nice. And now the prince was resolved to find out who this bonny lassie was, and so he sent a servant through the land with the shoe. Every lady was to try it on, and the prince promised to marry the one that it would fit. But the servant went to a great many houses and could not find a lady that the shoe would fit upon, and because the shoe was so little and neat. At last he came to a henwife's house, and her daughter had little feet, and at first the shoe would not go on, but she pared her feet and clipped her toes until the shoes went on. And now the prince was very angry, and he knew it was not the lady that he had wanted. But because he had promised to marry whoever the shoe fit, he had to keep his promise. And the marriage day came, and they were all riding to the kirk when a little bird flew through the air, and it sang, "Clippet feet and parrot taes is on the saddle set, and bonny feet with braw feet sits at the kitchen nook. What What's that you say? The prince said. Oh, says the hen wife, would you mind what the bird what do you mind what the bird says? And the prince says, sing that again, bonny birdie, so sing it again. Clip it feet and parrot tease is on the saddle set, and bonny feet and braw feet sits in the at the kitchen nook. And the prince turned his horse and rode home and went straight to his father's kitchen, and there sat Rashin-Coatie, and he kent her at once because she was so bonny, and when he tried the shoe on, it fit her. And so the prince married Rashin-Coatie, and they lived happy and built a house for the red calf who had been so kind to her.